My friends, we are back with one heck of a 7-day break. We had the Invitational, which was an absolute blast from start to finish. It gave us excitement from just every possible angle. And now, 7 days has passed. And it is time for the 71st installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. I am your host and commentator, as always, your girl, TK Layla. And if you honestly think that everybody is going to come into today's tournament in a nice, calm state, you've got another thing coming. Having seen Riffa lose out in the Invitational to Replicant of all people, who the heck knows how the Challenge Cup is going to go? Obviously, Riffa's streak is still very much in play. Riffa, of course, the revolutionary Le Champion himself, with 23 wins, 5 of which back to back. And he has a chance to etch his name in a little bit more history. I mean, like I said, he already has 5 wins in a row. No one has ever done 5 in a row. But he also has a chance to beat his personal best of 5 finals in a row if he manages to make it to grand finals once again. And you bet your butt that everybody is going to be vying for a piece of gold today. So without further ado, let's boot you all in to the game that we know and love. It's arms time. And I'm clicking on all of the wrong buttons right in the early stages, but you know, it's just how it is sometimes. So, as of time of writing, we have 12 people. We had a last second sign-in because of course we did. Who was the last second sign-in? Of course it's Iceman. Iceman always leaves it to the very end. So, just going to quickly get that name added to the roll call. And I can tell you what the official lineup looks like. Iceman always leaves it to the last second, I swear. You just never know sometimes with him. So, it does mean we have 5 former winners taking part today. Our roll call is as follows. We've got Le Champion Riffa. We got Iceman. We got Grimwood, Rafa, Replicant, Yam, Penzo, Aloya, Razia, Lori, Sug, and Yoshi. Oh no, wait, we got a last second replacement it seems. Hang on. Who dropped out and who came in? Dr. Crits came in. Who did they come in place of? Who went out? Dr. Crits came in. Who went out? I'm not entirely sure who we lost there. Like, I'm looking at my roll call and I'm not seeing the name. I think we lost Lori. Yeah, we lost Lori. Okay, so Lori was out and in their place comes Dr. Crit. Okay. Alright, so that is all set up. And we have our first matchup set and ready for you as well, which is even better. I believe the 2 people are on your screens right now. It's going to be Aloya going up against Yoshi Bowser. And as we get ourselves queued in and ready to go, I'm just going to quickly give a refresh on the browser to make sure that this is actually working. Well, it is not quite having anything to do with it at the moment, so hopefully we'll get the bracket set up for you in just a moment. But yeah, it looks like it's not properly loading at the moment, so we'll get that bracket to you when we get it. So yeah, I'll just quickly snip off the Elgato and we'll join ourselves in. For those of you who are new here, double elimination tournament rules apply. If you lose your set, don't worry, you've got plenty of time to come back via the underground bracket. The way it's going to work is that it will be a best of threes from the start, Finals will be best of 5s. That'll be winners final, underground final, and of course the grand final, where a bracket reset could happen on the basis of that, you know how these things are. If you haven't lost the set up until grand final and you lose it in the finals, the reset will cometh and it will kick your butt when you least expect it. So, both of our participants are set and ready to go. It will be a lawyer on the left-hand side of your screen. It will be Yoshi Bowser on the right-hand side of your screen. Ribbon Girl versus a Boit and a Bork. Double toaster? No, lawyer just baiting us out there with the Ram Ram and the Parasol. Meanwhile, it's going to be Yoshi coming on in with the hottest of slaps alongside the Siki. So a lot of big electrical damage, which could indeed hinder Yoshi as well, but so far it's going to be the hot slap that curves around and tags the lawyer on the side in the early stages. The Parasol, again, that mini mobile shield, can at least do some kind of damage, and it is pretty quick as well, but again, that Siki is a fully guided arm, and it's always devastating at its fully charged up state, as you can see there. If you could disarm it, it can render Yoshi completely helpless, but so far, the lawyer is holding their own and does force the self-destruct from that missile. It's high risk, high reward. I mean, yes, the damage is incredible at the rush, but so far, lawyer is keeping that at bay. Another nice little toast and another self-destruct. It does rob a lawyer of the chance to really follow up with the rest of the rush, but again, it's a disarm in their favor, and it puts Yoshi into critical. Another quick little 1-2 hit as well. It gives Yoshi a very good chance to maybe try and come back into this, but unfortunately cannot connect with either the slap or the missile in its rush state. Another quick little curve around from Ribbon Girl, and that is already the initial point on the side of a lawyer. But can they keep that up? We are going to see. And straight back on into things. We're going to see pretty much no switch from Yoshi at all, and a good grab as well to kick things off. Parasol and Ram Ram is still the pick, and it's again the Ram Ram that curves on around and bites and Bork in the butt. Remember with Bite and Bark that really the only abilities is via Bork. Bite themselves do not have any abilities to play around with. It's all based on their wonderful little doggo partner. They can jump up high, they can fire out that random glove and act as a mini meat shield, but other than that, there's no further abilities, so this is why Aloya is just keeping the dog down and keeping Yoshi at bay as well. And so much pressure coming on, using that wonderful agility that Ribbon Girl does possess, gets in another grab, gets in with the first point, and that is going to be lead for them in the early stages of this set. So, very good start for a lawyer. We've seen them do this time and time again. Remember that they are a consistent force to be reckoned with in the point standings. Remember that Aloya has made it into the top 3 on 2 different occasions. Never into the grand finals though, but it's always nice to see people make their way up the top and actually get a couple of third places in there. It's always nice to see fresh faces on that podium, and they'll be wanting to try and do so again. We'll see if they can, and see if Yoshi can bring anything to the table to resist them. Yoshi is a consistent competitor in this tournament. They are always showing up for pretty much every week. I think something's wrong if Yoshi Bowser does not show up to a Challenge Cup event. But they've never broken that top 3, and they're always showing signs of improvements, but unfortunately they're just consistently outmatched by what people like Aloy are able to bring to the table. And especially when, again, once you have Bark down, it's very hard sometimes to come back in with Bite. Yoshi has been making them work, but still, it's going to be via Dulce, which, bearing in mind, is going to be Yoshi's pick. And Ribbon Girl does have those Megatons, those non-elemental big ol' weights. And instead, in fact, is actually going to bring one of these to the table as Yoshi comes in with the Biffler. Gonna try, well, not just, wow, yeah, so the Biffler and the Hottest of Slaps, so keeps that curved down utility, which is a nice tool to have, especially against a character like Griffin. And the Biffler, again, kind of, not quite as much damage as the Hydra, but it's still vertical prongs, and it does rob their ability to properly see on the screen with those little mascot faces. And another grab for Yoshi, and so far keeping Aloya pinned into the corner and definitely getting the better of this exchange so far. Finally Bark does go down, but again, crucially, they're able to bring this back, and the slap juggles them into the air. Is that enough for KO? Not quite. They need one more hit from pretty much anything, but they cannot afford to let Aloya get carried away. The Biffler just couldn't quite reach in time, and it sends Yoshi into critical. Now they're both in a dangerous position, but thankfully, Yoshi sidesteps to the right, flings in the slap. It does connect, and it does give Yoshi a point back into this. So, straight back in. The Biffler again just gets completely rinsed through by the Megaton, but crucially, the Megaton doesn't make it to Yoshi, and in fact, the first point of damage does go against Aloya. And again, a nice little 1-2 chain, thanks to Bark throwing out that random little toaster. And that's what Yoshi likes to be able to have on the table. Like, they have that extra shield, they have that extra arm essentially being randomly jettisoned out by the Bark. Another quick little tap from the Biffler, and again, Aloya's going to go down. Has the wherewithal to immediately be straight up in Yoshi's face and get the grab. Nothing that Yoshi could really do about it on that exchange, but again, manages to catch Aloya out with another Biffler. The Megaton does come out, but again, Bark is able to slow its ascent down just enough for Yoshi to get the shield in, and again, rip Aloya off their feet. Another direct Biffler hit, and that sends Aloya into critical. If Yoshi could time this right, and oh, can't do so! Almost manages to get the rush, and that would have absolutely put them in a beautiful position, but unfortunately they're gonna lose out right at the end. That could have been a 1-1 right in the early stages, but instead Aloya finds a way through, and Yoshi just unfortunately cannot quite make it through on this occasion. So now they'll have to try and win this point if they do not want to be going 2-0 at this stage. Another quick slap, another shield on this rush, so nothing that Aloya could do about it, and a trade between the two. Thankfully, it was with the hot slap charged up, so they both go down, so neither player can take advantage, and Yoshi actually starts the better of the two after the recovery. And so far, again, both just trading blows, but again, the Biffler does manage to find a way through, and the Megaton, whilst it is the heavy arm, yes, it can do damage and punch through everything that Yoshi has. So far, the Biffler has just been allowed to go through it most of the times here, without question, and that is an arm break as well. Unfortunately, Yoshi, I thought, was too far away to capitalize on it, but somehow gets the grab anyway. It puts Aloya into critical. That's surely what we can. No, it's not KO! Aloya just about hits the floor, and the slap catches them on the rush. The slap manages to catch them on their descent as they went for the rush. It's a rush stop for the KO. And Yoshi does take a point. It's one apiece. Well then. Well, that sure came out of nowhere from Yoshi, but hey, it worked. Managing to keep Aloya at bay, the Biffler was mostly going through uncontested. And the hot slap coming in when it mattered most. Aloya, again, the ability, the agility that Replicant possesses, able to double jump and just slide around quite consistently, especially in the mid-air. Their game in there is incredibly strong. But just as they hit the floor to finish up with the rest of their rush, that slap was very well timed. And definitely a force to be reckoned with. Yoshi's showing more and more signs of improvements, which you'll like to see. Yoshi will stick with the Boit and the Bork. But meanwhile, Aloya is going to switch it on up. So Min Min did get defeated. Not Min Min. Ribbon Girl did get defeated. So out comes Twin Tail for Aloya. Chakram and the Parasol. Yoshi very rarely makes it past round 1, but gets the big electrical discharge from the Siki as we go into sparring ring. They both again hit each other with respective charged attacks, so neither player has the advantage there. Another 1-2 chain quickly dropped, but Yoshi Yoshi's coming in with a completely different turn of pace here. Managing to tag a lawyer for a couple more times as well. The chakram not going to be contested. The hot slap again punches on through. Last time it was the Biffler playing very much solid on that offensive for Yoshi. This time around it is the hot slap and another connection around the power saw. The grab finally does come out and quiet Yoshi down a little bit, but crucially, look at this. The rush is ready for Yoshi, but not for Aloya, and Aloya is in KO range here. They're down into critical, and Yoshi may try and hold on to this rush for the next point, but they're also on the cusp of going down as well, so they have to be incredibly careful, knowing full well that Aloya will have rush now. Oh, and that's a self-destruct! No! Oh no! The missile exploded in their face and it gave Aloya the chance to go in with the rest of the rush. You hate to see that happen, and Aloya is going to take full advantage of that and bring in the whammer. Another heavy arm, it'll have that little flick before it knocks them down, but that hot slap is going to make sure it does not get anywhere close to utilizing that kind of impact. Again, another whammer does manage to go through this time around. Thankfully not charged up. It does get the charge stun that time around, but could not fully capitalize on it. And Yoshi knows full well they've got to be so careful here. It's just a matter of when they decide to deploy it. But again, oh, and they get caught by their own rush. That is the risk you run by utilizing the C-key. It gets hit by the shield. It drops it for the Yoshi. Yoshi realized there was no way they were going to get out of that in time. And now it looks like it's only a matter of time before Aloya does pick up this win. And all of the momentum that Yoshi had comes grinding to a halt as Aloya takes it comfortably in the end. 2 points to 1, but a great showing from Yoshi Bowser, especially at Via, managing to turn the pace around. But unfortunately, Bite and Bork just completely caught out by their own C-key. And Yoshi, once again, will not be making it through round 1. This time around, it'll be back into the underground bracket they go, but still a very good showing from Yoshi. So Aloya 2, Yoshi Bowser 1. Aloya books their ticket through into the next bracket. Let's see if we actually do have that bracket up for you now. Let's have a look-see. Looks like the answer is still no. Yep, it is still a no. Let's give this a manual refresh, see if anything will happen. It doesn't look like it is going to be working, so our bracket is down at the... Oh, there it is! Hey, there's the bracket. You like to see it. So, Penzo beat Sugun by 2 points to 0. Aloy beat Yoshi by 2-1, and Iceman beat Crits by 2-1. So you can see your winner's side here, and it will be, as you can see, Riffa will take on Penzo. Rafa will take on Yam. Replicant will take on Aloya. And Grimwood will fight against Iceman. So, great little bracket we've got developing over here. Obviously, Le Champion will take on Penzo, Rafa, Yam, Replicant, Aloya. And it will be Grimwood and Iceman we will have on stream in our next matchup. Alright, so both of our combatants will be set and ready to go in just one moment. I believe one of them has had the unfortunate update happen, which these things happen. It's generally how it be. But it is fine. We will have them here in due time. But yeah, these two, again, with so much credibility to their names, we know full well what both of these individuals have on offer. I mean, you know, Iceman does have the second highest wins behind Riffa, but that gap is massive at this stage. I mean, 13 wins is still nothing to sniff at, you know. You're in double digits. It's a significant amount of Challenge Cup wins, but Rifa with 23. They are 10 ahead of them, and Iceman wants to claw that gap back into the single digits. But to do that, they're going to have to take out Grimwood, who is no stranger to wins. No stranger to the finals, for that matter. They have 7 wins under their belt. 13 times they have finished the runner-up. So 20 appearances in the finals. I think Iceman only beats them by... No, actually doesn't beat them by 1. Like, Iceman has 13 wins in 6 second places. So Grimwood's been in the final more, but just by 1. But Iceman significant with a fair few more wins than Grim. So, into our next best of 3 we go. It is Iceman versus Grimwood. Iceman on the left-hand side of your screen with the toaster and the popper. A lot of fast and fiery utility for a very fast and fiery character. Meanwhile, Grimwood going on big and strong. The nade with the max brass along with that chakram. So coming in for a lot of curved utility, trying to slow down and stall out Iceman's Ribbon Girl, and doing so quite nicely. Finally does get caught with the grab again. Ribbon Girl very much known for their movement, but look at how quick Grimwood was to immediately deploy Rush, take Iceman all the way down to critical. Now just looking for what is essentially one more hit. And again, the popper is such a lightweight arm. It's incredibly quick, but it can be punched through by anything. And the nade explosion again, it finds a target. It may not have been what they were initially looking for, but the AoE explosion is what caught Iceman off guard. Anything will do it. That is the anything. The chakram just clipping the feet of the Ribbon Girl. And it is going to be Grimwood who starts the stronger of the two. So on we go once again. Iceman now coming in with all of the fiery goodness. This time round, it's the hot slap with that toaster, and it juggles brass in the air for 370 damage. Which is exactly how you want to start, having just conceded the initial point. Grimwood immediately though smashes down the pillar, brings in 320 smackaroons of their own, and immediately starts putting that pressure straight back onto Iceman, who gets hit with the nade. It's an unguided arm. It trades out that guided goodness for more damage, more power, as they like to say. It is going to be Iceman who has to quickly nip on back a little bit, try to get some pokes with that slap again. As long as any of those hit as a charge, as a charge attack, as you can see, it deploys that fire and immediately takes any character down, heavyweight or no. And Iceman again, utilizing that speed, comes in with the rush. Is it enough for the KO? It is enough for the KO. We do not get to see Max Brass's big ol' critical buff time this time. So, Grimwood gonna answer in without the nade this time. Gonna bring in the Chiller. The Chiller gonna try and at least stop Iceman, but the pillar is gonna be in the way of Grimwood this time around. No juggle up. Iceman is gonna get away with that, but does get caught with the Chiller, and an immediate follow-up from Grimwood. Again, putting that pressure straight back onto Iceman, and the Chiller is again not what Ribbon Girl wants to be seen. If it does hit charged up, it would deploy that ice and just rob you of all of your ability. So Ribbon Girl just pretty much becomes a paperweight. Nothing that Iceman can do in those kind of situations. So it's why they're trying to pin Brass into the corner, keep this fiery pressure alive, and keep them having to avoid and maybe not utilize the Chiller as much as they'd like to. Weak on the left hand side though, very much keeping that pressure up, and if they can break it, they know it'll be a free rush for them. Another fiery punch takes Grimwood out of the contention for now, and pops them past the halfway mark, and Grimwood knows full well this is starting to slide away from them. They will enter critical, immediately score with the Chiller, try to go for the grab, but Iceman denies them it. Rush will come out. That'll deal a fair amount of damage, 260, puts Iceman on the cusp of critical. 25 seconds on the clock. Iceman pretty much just needs anything. Literally anything will do at this stage, but you never underestimate Grimwood in this position. 15 seconds on the clock. Iceman knows they've got it. Finally gets the rush. Nothing Brass could do. They were pinned in the corner, and that is that. It will be Iceman who starts with the initiative, taking the first point in this best of 3 set. Great start from both of these two. We know full well what Grimwood is able to do in these kind of situations. We've seen it time and time again. but you have to wonder if Iceman might just be a little too much for them here. They had such a good start as well. They were able to pin Iceman down, but Iceman adapts incredibly quick. And now as we go into Buster Beach, we'll see if Iceman can still use that speed of Ribbon Girl to their advantage, or if this more of a closed-in stage might give Brass more of a chance to keep Ribbon Girl grounded. Well, we're soon going to find out as another nade immediately finds its mark. Takes Iceman down for the time being, but again, jumps straight into a hot slap. Iceman just waiting for them to make the first move. Unfortunately, sidesteps into yet another nade. Really cannot afford to be taking too many of those hits. But again, another quick little tag, and you notice that Grimwood does not go down anytime soon. Another rush goes through, 320, shoves Iceman into critical, and again, Grimwood does start this match the better of the two. They did it in the last matchup, and it looks like they're going to do so here again. Walks them back on up. Nate not going to hit this time around, but again, that kind of unguided goodness does generally help against a character as fast as Ribbon Girl. Sometimes you'll catch them by surprise, and the Ram is definitely going to catch them in midair, pops them back down, and again, Grimwood does start the stronger of the two, but can they carry that momentum forward? The toaster and the hot slap from Iceman come back in once again. And now it's the Tri-Ball that is getting an appearance, so that's not going to be what Iceman wants to see in their vision at all. Manages to pin Brass into the hot pocket. Nothing Grimwood could do about that exchange. And I wonder if Iceman is going to try and keep them down there. The answer is, well, they're trying, but trying is the key word. They can't quite do so. Grimwood just phases on through. Again, the only time you'll see Brass really hindered is if these arms are charged up, and already Grimwood is into critical, and Iceman is on the cusp for a perfect and gets it. Oh, Iceman with the audacity. Maybe they were happy seeing the Tri-Ball, and Grimwood goes, you know what, Tri-Ball did not help me in the slightest there. It has so much coverage, so you would think it would help, but Iceman just, you feel like they've practiced for that. They've put so much time into working a way around the coverage that the Tri-Ball has, and so far the Toaster and Hot Slap are doing their job. Both now with rush set and ready to go. Iceman with the confidence of that perfect, but Grimwood will start with the big time damage. 330, they connect with their rush. Iceman has to connect with theirs, and crucially does so. 330, and it keeps this matchup very much all square. Have to block through every single poke that Iceman is bringing to the table. That nade and Chakram are deadly. We've seen him do it time and time again. Another solid nade connection gives Grimwood that advantage. Hits another Chakram. Really good swing into that nade as well. And the final nade to boot. And it's almost like the second Grimwood nails one nade, they just nailed the rest of them every single time. And Grimwood is going to force a second best of three to go the distance. So Aloria and Yoshi started us off with a third match in best of three, and now Grimwood and Iceman will take us to a third match in best of three. We like to go the distance today, it seems. It could be an omen, you never know. We do have results already coming in though. We know that Riffa has taken out Penzo by 2-0. I guess we shouldn't be surprised. This is Riffa we are talking about. And Riffa will take on the winner of Rafa versus Yam in the first of our two semi-finals once this match has concluded. But who will be joining them there? Well, we'll have to wait and see as Grimwood and Iceman do battle here. A one apiece so far. Iceman with Ribbon, Grimwood with the Brass. 3 toasters and a sea key is going to be the call as we head on into DNA Lab. One of the biggest stages in the game. And Iceman is going to get themselves off to a fantastic start. A direct hit with the sea key just shocks Grimwood, and Iceman has more than enough time to get into a position where they can get that grab in and immediately swing things the other way. Grimwood bringing in, like I said, the double toaster. And because Iceman has one of their own, it basically means we've got 3 fiery gloves and an electric fully guided missile. So Iceman playing a very different strategy between Grimwood's just straight up boxing. And sometimes you'll see that come out from Grimwood. They'll just use this to put the pressure on, charge that rush up, and immediately come out with it. And that's exactly what they've decided to do. 300 damage straight up into Iceman's face. But Iceman knows they have the potential to do even more damage thanks to that missile. It's incredibly scary at its rush state, and Grimwood knows they have to use these tubes to their advantage. You can use them to cover and make it that little bit harder to hit you with, unless you decide to break them down. There are 6 of them here, 4 in Temple Grounds, and 2 in Scrapyard, which is no longer a counter pick anymore. And again, the gloves rain out, and they're finding their target every single time Iceman tries to get close. It's just not working out for them. A grab sends them through 2 of the tubes, pops them into critical. Iceman sees a chance. This is going to be big time damage. That's a lot of damage. That's 410 with 5 seconds to go. Can they get anything? They can! Oh my god, they've snatched that! They have absolutely snatched that! And that is why you never count your chickens before they hatch in this game. The Seekie gets the shock, gets the 410 damage, and then gets the grab. And Iceman somehow gets away with a point that Grimwood felt they had absolutely sealed. And, well, they are not going to be taking that anywhere near as lightly. But again, another shock from the missile. They keep being caught by it. And despite Iceman already being down past the halfway mark, they are on form with the AoE damage. And Grimwood just keeps on falling foul of it. And very nearly does so again. Just about sidesteps to the side and gets out of the way this time round. Iceman just past the halfway mark. Grimwood on the cusp of going into that kind of phase as well. That's the block out from the missile, and now starting to treat this with a little bit more respect. Having to get the timing down just a little bit better, and finally disarms the Seekie right in front of Iceman. Sends him straight back down. That's what the Bird Chuck is designed to do, but again, another shock. Thankfully, they were all the way in the corner, so nothing that Iceman could do about it. The rush will come out. It gets them the point. It ties this up. But it is Iceman with rush advantage. And so off we go again. Seekie immediately straight at that shotgun. Grimwood actually decided to give that up and actually takes the big time damage as well. Didn't get the second juggle, but again, Iceman does start with that initial rush, and they will likely charge it up very quickly. And that's kind of the key here. They want to have their rush at the same kind of time as Grimwood does, and another successful knockdown with the Toaster actually gives them a pretty nice advantage as Grimwood tries to find their mark with this Shakram Toaster combination. The Seekie not going to hit anything this time around as Brass gets closer, but another missile hit is going to wrestle control right back the other way, and Iceman finally takes a point of damage, both with rush on the table. Grimwood can be KO'd by a rogue missile rush if it does connect, and Grimwood has to be incredibly careful at this stage. Gets dipped into critical. This is the last place they want to be. Yes, they'll do so much damage in this state, but it gives Iceman so much of a lead, and that's KO! The arm goes down, and Iceman is going to send Grimwood into the underground bracket. Grimwood, I think, might be kicking themselves because they lost it with that initial missile play against them right in the last 9 seconds. And it is going to be Iceman 2, Grimwood 1. And Iceman, well, they left sign up till late. They left that win very late indeed. But they are through into the semi-finals. You gotta feel for them. You really gotta feel for Grimwood there. They felt like they had that, but it's just not to be this time around. And they will have to do battle in the underground bracket. So, with that being said, we do indeed have our underground bracket listed up. And we also have our semi-final, well, one of our semi-finals in play. And it is going to be Riffa versus Rafa. I guess we kind of expected to see these two go at it once again. Rafa taking out Yam by 2 points to 0, and obviously, like I said, Iceman taking out Grimwood by 2 points to 1. So, the underground bracket, you can't see, but the initial side of it, there is an underground round 1. Grimwood will be taking on Sugan, Yam will be taking on Yoshi Bowser, and Penzo will take on Dr. Kritz. The winner of Grimwood Sugan will take on the loser of Replicant Aloria. The winner of that match between Replicant and Aloria will take on Iceman in the other semi-final. But as you expect, our first semi-final will indeed be Rifa, the reigning champion, against Rafa. These two are no strangers. They have fought each other time and time again. And I'm pretty sure we've had people get confused over the two. We've had a lot of commentators, I've done it myself a couple times as well, say Rafa instead of Rifa and vice versa. It's easy to do. It's very easy to do. But yes, this is exactly where we will be going for our first go-round, our first semi-final. This, as mentioned, will be for a place in Winners' Final. I don't think anybody would be surprised. I don't think anybody would be surprised if Rifa made it in, because it's Rifa. The champion knows exactly what they're doing, and it's going to be Misango who will be coming on up first for the Rifa machine as they take on Rafa in our first of two semi-finals. Immediately caught by the Burchuck, by the Kid Cobra, but immediately dumped straight in to that Megawatt. Rifa going in for the quick and heavyweight shenanigans, the fast and fiery Cracker, which can be topped off by anything. But having said that, Rafa's coming in with the popper of the road, so they'll both essentially just even each other out. Meanwhile, the Megawatt will punch through anything that Rafa has. It is also one of the slower arms in this game, but so far it's been Rafa who has been taking way more punishment in the early stages here at Buster Beach, as the Cracker once again finds its target and punches on through the popper. And Rafa, despite having that speed of the Cobra, is just not finding any purchase whatsoever. Arm weak on the right hand side, as well as Misango with that red mask is just so much damage, so much power, and the Megawatt finally drains them down to give Le Champion the initiative. And so Rafa decides, you know what, let's not play Popper versus Cracker, let's play Megawatt versus Megawatt instead. Might be a bit more comfortable for them, we'll have to find out, but unfortunately it is going to be the Cracker once again that finds its way through, and that's it's a good combo that we've seen the pair of these two use in the past. I mean, we've seen Junior use it as well, where one is able to sort of like seek on out what they want to do, bait their opponent out, and then immediately dip on through with the quickness. And speaking of quickness, Rafa with the Cobra, not going to give Rifa any time with that rush, sliding on around, taking no damage, getting the punish on the back foot as well, and pops on that damage on the left hand side of the arm. Rafa senses an opportunity, goes in for the rush, gets a lot of damage, 355, and very much taking this fight straight to Rifa, who finds themselves in critical condition in the first of our semi-finals. The Watts balance each other out, but the Burchuck is going to punch through the Cracker every single time. And finally, Cobra finds the breakthrough. So, one apiece, trying to bait out what the response is going to be, and Rafa actually going to try and call this right down the middle. Coolerang is going to come up for Rifa, so they're going to switch out the Cracker for a curved utility. Rafa immediately switched to the Popper and gets the shock with the Watt, and also gets the follow-up grab as well. Gives them a fair amount of damage on the board. Rifa does have rush set and ready to go, and Rafa will have to be very careful about how they deal with this. They're not too far away from rush of their own, so it could be a very good call, but again, caught by the Coolerang. Robs them of their abilities, they get them back eventually. Rifa goes all the way back and dons the yellow mask. So Misango has 3 different masks. Red bulks up everything, blue makes them go faster, and yellow means that if the rush exchange happens, they will always win it. They get a little bit of juggle with the Coolerang, but that is about it, but crucially, it's damage, and it puts Rafa on the cusp of critical. Does get clipped. The knockback is enough to juggle it up for 360, and Rafa has taken the lead and gets the shock, gets the popper hit as well. They need one more hit of anything, or just to survive the next 30 seconds, and they may yet steal this point, and they have! They've popped Rifa with the popper! Rafa takes the lead against Rifa in the first of our 2 semi-finals. Now, you never know what will happen in this competition. We've said this so many times. But this is weird. You don't normally see Rifa conceding points in the semi-finals. Like, I feel like we're so used to seeing Rifa make it into top 3 that we feel like it's just always a guarantee that it's going to happen. He is a 23-time winner of this cup for a reason. It's just that consistency. But it seems like Replicant really has done a number on him last week, because this is... I mean, they still had that same fiery start as we are so used to seeing, but it looks like Rafa managing to work their way through. The switch-ups absolutely working. The popper against the Coolerang meant that as long as the popper hit, and it hit in its charged up state, the Coolerang would be rendered useless and moot, and Rafa, on top of their game there, made it work at Buster Beach. And it looks like, with Rifa's pick, we are going to see both counter pick stages on stream already. We saw Viadol's earlier, now we see it in Ninja College. The only stage we haven't seen then today has been Mausoleum, which feels weird because we always see Mausoleum first, but not this time. Heck, we saw Sparring Ring before Mausoleum. That really tells you everything. And it looks like we are all good and set, and of course, because Rafa picked Ninja College, you knew Ninja was coming on out. Rafa, meanwhile, switches on up from Cobra to Twin Tail, so both participants absolutely switching things up. Rafa, when he plays Ninja, you know what the combination is. It's always the combination. It's Tri-Blast and the Ice Dragon. Meanwhile, for Rafa, it's going to be double Roaster, so going for double Unguided Goodness against the shield, teleport, and hop-in tendencies of the Ninja. They are going to take the first point of damage as well against that Tri-Blast. Arm weak on the left-hand side. That laser punish is, well, felt like it was coming, but the Roaster hit into the grab immediately wrestles this back onto Rafa's control. But again, that Tri-Blast, Rafa does not mind which direction they fire from. Those bolts, they cover so much range, and Rafa really has to get up close and personal, not just to get these Roaster hits a little bit more consistent, but also, to stop Rafa from doing rushes like that. Beautifully done, and also keeps the dragon at bay, because the further range that Rafa has, the more that they can just throw that bolt to punish and to keep that dragon, to keep that kind of chill damage on display. And again, another bolt finding Rafa on the back foot. The grab just about missing this time around. The Actrosaur not helping Rafa in the slightest. No amount of slowdown is going to stop those bolts. And again, another little attack. Thankfully, that was not charged up, but that one was, and despite blocking them initially, they tried to move away, and the AoE explosion is going to tag them. And Rafa, well, you only thought it was a matter of time before they brought out the big guns, and they, well, it was the second they dropped a point, they went, no, I do not lose top 3. That is not how this works. So, Dragon Tri-Blast. This time, Rafa going to bring in a Thunderbird. But so far, again, the bolts are just keeping them at bay. The dragon just all the way on the floor. It's just such an awkward combination to deal with, especially on Ninja College. It's such a vertical stage as is. And Rafa doing everything in their power to try and find a way through. They do manage to get a clip with the roaster and actually catches Rifa mid-jump as well. With the roaster of all things, I cannot tell you how difficult that is. Another Tri-Blast hit is going to go through. The first one was uncharged, the second was charged, does the damage with the bolt, and then explodes for the rest. Another rogue roaster finds its way through so that the dragon does not fully fire. Rifa not far away from popping that rush, but gets caught with the grab, shielded in the corner, nowhere they could go. The second Rifa allows to roam free like this, they're able to just get these hits in and keep Rafa at bay. And this is the problem with a stage like this. The second you throw Rifa away from the corner, you've essentially given them free reign again. Rifa just buys the time. They know just a couple points will do it. Forced into the corner again. Both going to go for the rush. And it's going to be Rifa who gets away with it. Shimmies off onto the side. Fires in with the rest of it. And takes a 2-0 there for the third match in a row. That is one apiece. And so Rifa naturally taking them to a stage where they know they have the advantage, picking a character they know excels at their stage pick. And it means it's one apiece. And obviously, this is now Rafa's pick. We are going to see Mausoleum, and Rifa is going to change to Kid Cobra. For those of you unaware, the winner of a match, if they change characters, they have to announce the character switch. In this situation, they have picked Kid Cobra. So we've had Misango, Ninjara, and Kid Cobra. Rafa, meanwhile, sticks with Twin Tail, going to stick with the Actress Aura, and Rifa, again, going to come out with the Popper and Megawatt combinations, that lightweight, heavy artillery that we've seen used so many times across so many, well, I say so many. We've seen Junior utilize this wonderfully well as well. We've seen Rafa use it too. And finally does get a hit with the Chiller, waits for the Watt to come out, baits it out, and goes for the grab, giving Rafa a chance to square up this health nicely, but unfortunately gets too close to Rifa. The Megawatt punches through all, and in its charged up state, it's pretty much a free grab for Rifa. It already sends our Twin Tail straight down to the halfway mark, gets caught by the Shack Ram though. Rafa couldn't capitalize it on it the first time round, gets the hit in mid-air the second time of asking, and now goes for the rush as well, but the Popper from Rifa is gonna catch them off guard and immediately rob them of any momentum. Arm weak on the right hand side. Rafa has to move around, otherwise the arm is going to go down. Sends him into critical. Right, trampoline is open as well, and Kid Cobra just does not mind just bending their time and bouncing away on it. The Watt punches through all again. And Le Champion. I don't see a way back for Rafa at this stage. They've got to find a way of being able to deny that Popper from getting on through. But most importantly, they've got to find a way of keeping that electrifying Watt out of contention, which is easier said than done. Yes, it's slow, but crucially, Rifa is using that weight every time to just fling the Popper in. Arm weak on the right hand side for Rafa, but they are very much still in this matchup, and the Popper not being as good. No sooner have I said that, the Popper has to hit, because of course this is how it goes. And again, Rifa does not mind playing at this kind of range. Tries to go for the trampoline, and Rafa with the werewolf to at least stop them from doing anything with that. Getting another free Chiller hit, not charged up, so it won't rob them of the abilities to just slip and slide around. But again, it's always incredibly dangerous to go up against them. Now both arms starting to fire in with some kind of pressure. But Rafa keeps it at bay for the time being. Gets another solid Chiller hit. That was 2 in a row for them. And as the Popper just whizzes on by their heads. 40 seconds on the clock. Both trade a hit, but it's Rifa who drops into critical first. Rafa cannot afford to get caught with a charged up hit of any of those, but that's exactly what's going to happen. Somehow gets the shield up, but the arm is broken down, and the Popper will fly on through. And of course, it is the champion that goes on through. That's why you never, ever write Rifa out of any exchange. Once again, Rifa has made it into winner's final. He does this every time. Like, every single time. Not only does he like, okay, I can bring this back. Not only can I bring this back, I can bring it back with your character and your arms. Just like that. He always flexes when he doesn't even need to. And that is why he is a 23-time Challenge Cup winner. Riffa again makes it into winner's final. He is guaranteed to be in the top 3. I don't think there's going to be a single cup that's going to happen where Riffa doesn't make it in the top 3 unless he doesn't sign up. But that is just how it's going to be. And we do have confirmation that it is Replicant who will be taking on Iceman in the second semi-final. Replicant taking out Aloy by 2 points to 1. So Aloy came very close to getting a win against Rep, the invitational winner, it must be said. But not this time round. So it'll be Replicant versus Iceman in our next matchup, which will be the second semi-final. So as we wait for these two to sign on in, I feel like the pair of you know what's at stake here. A chance to be in the top 3, guaranteed. Because obviously if you win in winner's final, you only drop to underground. And that's not a problem in the slightest. It means worst, you finish 3rd, which is still a podium position. But at best, if you can make it way to grand final, you are guaranteed to finish no lower than the runner-up spot. And having seen what the last Invitational was like, having gone in and seen what Replicant was able to do against Griffin not once but twice, it's anything to play for, and Replicant will know the stakes at this stage. The chance to maybe break Riffa's Challenge Cup streak, but Iceman has got their eyes on the same prize as well. And again, you look at the stats, Iceman with 13 wins, Replicant with 3. Replicant has only won the Challenge Cup 3 times, would you believe it? And before last week, had never won the Invitational either. Boy, how things could change. It's all I have to say. I think we both know full well that Replicant will just revel in the potential that there is to maybe, just maybe, get themselves back onto the Challenge Cup win box. Like I said, they got the Invitational in the bag when nobody expected that to happen. They want to make it 2 for 2. They want to get back onto the Challenge Cup winning spree as well. But there's a lot to go through. The stats speak for themselves. Iceman knows exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what it takes to get that high in the status. So between these two, it's anything to play for. And again, you look at the stats as well. Iceman last won this in the 62nd Cup. Replicant, a little bit further back, the 54th Cup. So there's a massive gap, not just in wins, but the last time they won it. But again, Replicant winning the Invitational, it changes everything. It changes that complexion. It suddenly makes you believe that, yes, you can indeed do it. You do still have it in you. And as we get ourselves geared up, our players are just banning stages. Now we have confirmation that Grimwood took out Sug by 2 points to 0. They will take on Aloy in Underground Round 2, as you can see on the bracket. But on top of that, Panzer beat Crits by 2 points to 1. And Yoshi Bowser, seeded 10 by the way, knocked out Yam, who is seeded 5, in Underground Round 1. So Yoshi Bowser has been improving big time, and it is showing. A 2-1 that they lost against Aloy, and now a 2-1 that they won against Yam. Iceman Well, Iceman and Replicant are doing battle here and now, but Yoshi Battles are definitely making a name for themselves and definitely going to be one to watch going forward as we get ourselves in to semi-final number 2. Replicant with the low of the pop with the Hydra and the Phoenix, an all-fiery affair. Iceman almost doing the same thing, got a Tri-Blast in the name is alongside the Toaster, so it's an explosive horizontal bolts versus fiery vertical bolts, and so far those vertical bolts are doing Iceman a disfavor, consistently being taken down, and Replicant already has Rush charged up, and the Hydra again disarms the blast, taking Iceman and Rimmingirl straight back down onto the field. Another Phoenix hit, a Rush comes out, initially got some kind of damage in there, but Iceman crucially gets the hit that tops it off, but already puts themselves on the cusp of critical, has a Rush to go, but so far Replicant, another 1-2 chain, is going to keep Rimmingirl at bay. And they're just looking for a couple more hits, and the longer this exchange goes on for, the closer Replicant will be to having another Rush charged up, and should they get this point and win this outright, they will essentially not be too far behind on their Rush for the second point. And again, that KO blow does come out when it needed to most. And it is going to be Iceman who comes in with the hardest of slaps, trading out that glove. The glove realizing is not going to do them any help here whatsoever. Again, like I said, Replicant already has the Rush available, and Iceman yet to utilize theirs, and the Rush comes in, not going to get stopped this time round, 335 damage, and Iceman on the back foot in the early goings finally does get a slap around, and another one catches Replicant in their mid-air bouncy state. Remember, Replicant can stay in that air could be in the air just as much as Rimmingirl can, and so far Iceman having to really use that agility to finally get away around and get that slap consistently through. But again, another 1-2 hit. The Hydra just keeps running clean on through Rimmingirl. And so far, keeping the center stage as well. Both with Rush again ready to go. Iceman hasn't really had any fortune with their Rush so far, but finally, slowly is pegging them back down. Another rogue Hydra hit is going to send Iceman into critical. A Phoenix disarm as well onto the Tri-Blast side. Means that Iceman is just a poke away from going down. But will this be? No, it's not! The explosion juggle does not get them anything. Replicant flings in the Hydra right at the end of it, and immediately picks themselves up a point against Iceman. Replicant does get seeded higher than Iceman on recent performances alone. So yes, Iceman has the most wins. They have the experience and the consistency, but crucially, when you look at recent tournaments, it has been Replicant who has been really punching above the weight that some people have expected, which is why Rep comes into this as the higher seed, and they've shown it exactly why that is the case. It's not just the fluke, it's not just because of their performances against Griffin, it's because of their performances against everyone. And every single time you see the Phoenix or the Hydra going on out, it's disarming something along the way. The Hydra is just running clean through Rimmingirl, and the Phoenix, especially when it disarms the Tri-Blast, it's not just hitting for that fiery damage, it's also causing a self-destruct in the process. And it just sends Rimmingirl flying. And Iceman, again, has that speed, has that consistency of their own, but it has not been working for them to the point where they are switching to Min Min. And for the second time today, we are going to see Ninja College make an appearance. It'll be the Popper and the Ice Dragon for Iceman. Immediately charges that up on the Dragon Arm and immediately loses it before they can even properly utilize it. They finally get a knockdown off their own, but they don't have the time to charge it up back because Replicant is straight back in the thick of things. The Nade and the Phoenix. No Hydra this time around. They know full well that that Dragon is going to try and excel at range. It gets another quick little laser, but not charged up this time around. And Replicant now making sure that Iceman does not fire that off again. If they try, a Nade explosion sends Iceman straight back down. And you notice that Iceman just cannot get that Popper in its perma charged up state as Replicant just continues to throw the fist in every time Iceman moves forward. Finally, they get a grab and send Replicant a little bit back down the way, and they have the charge now up on that popper. The bigger the hitbox, the more deadly it can be, and Replicant getting even further back. That's not going to help them in the slightest. As Iceman now has the high ground advantage, Replicant trying to find a way of wrestling control, having to shield through both the popper and the dragon. The arm goes down, but punches through the popper crucially, so it's only the dragon that does the damage in the end. Damage is damage, but crucially, Iceman knows they cannot keep... Well, I mean, and they don't... not to heavily rely on the popper or anything, but also at the same time, it is kind of what is getting them through these exchanges so far. They've got 15 seconds on the clock, both with critical condition, and it's going to be Iceman who baits out the response from Replicant, juggles them up with the popper hit of their own, and finishes on in with the rush to get the KO. Nice and patient there. You just immediately just switched on out of there. Has the distance to get the charge up on the popper, but again immediately loses it on the very first exchange because the Hydra just runs clean through them. They don't have enough time to get the popper up as Replicant is straight there. And again, at double firepower, the popper again is just able to be punched through by anything that Replicant has. If it's too close, the Phoenix can hit it, but the Hydra will almost always hit it. The dragon not going to find anything on this exchange, and Replicant using the fact that they are that bouncy movable shield that they can possess. Again, the popper is up, but Replicant knowing full well if they could just find a way of chipping them down, they'll get it off of them. But unfortunately, none of those Hydra hits were charged. If any of them had been charged, that would have easily taken it out of contention. That'll do it too. Rush does hit for 200 damage, sends Iceman into the corner, strips them of that big old dragon popper. Again, the Phoenix, these 1-2 hits so far from Replicant, just slowly but surely chipping away at that health, but Iceman with the wherewithal to get the popper charge back up and immediately goes on the offensive. Odd to see them do that with the dragon, because you can't really fully utilize the dragon at that kind of range, and immediately gets walled out by Replicant, who is going to tie this back on up. Iceman going to stick with that dragon, now going to come in with the nade. So no popper this time around. They're switching the fast-paced, lightweight arm for a bit more of a heavy hitter. Gets the grab as well. Sends Replicant down for just a little while. They do have rush advantage, but, well, now they both have it on the same page. And Replicant finding a way through. Actually does get it with the Phoenix, and that will be enough. 335. It pops Iceman down, and Replicant cannot find the ground. They jumped down the stairs instead of onto the main platform, and as a result, Iceman just wrestles control straight back away. Another rogue Hydra hit is at least going to keep Iceman in contention, but Replicant, well, it's pretty much a hit away from going down from pretty much anything that Iceman has, and it will be the charged up nade, and can you believe it? 4 matches on stream, 4 matches have gone the distance, 1 apiece. Always an interesting exchange when you see this coming out. Ninja College, both times have been picked, have both gone to the person who has picked it, which I guess goes to show the amount of confidence that both Iceman and Riffa respectively have with going to Ninja College. The character choices have worked for them. I was a little bit nervous about how it was going, how Iceman was playing that second point, being a little too aggressive with Replicant, because the Ice Dragon does excel at range more than it does in close quarter combats, because the dragon has to open itself up first to then fire out with that laser. So it's always an interesting decision to see it used up close like that, but Replicant was able to get the better of it, and in the third matchup it was a bit more comfortable in Iceman's favor. Although having said that, still a lot of punches going through from Replicant's side of the field, so it's certainly not a done and done deal. Replicant wants another chance to take on Riffa in the winners final. They want a chance at a little bit of history of their own. But Iceman also, you have performances like this where you feel like Iceman will start to move on through, will start to pick up that pace, but we had a 2-1 against Grimwood already, In fact, both of these two have had 2-1 matches in their previous matchup. Replicant going 2-1 for Lawyer, and Iceman going 2-1 with Grimwood. So these two are incredibly well matched, and it shows. As we go into sparring ring, no gimmicks. It's just a straight up boxing match. Except it really isn't, because the Dragons are coming back in with the Tri-Bolt this time for Iceman. Meanwhile, there's going to be the Nade and the Phoenix for Replicant. You see, every single time Iceman goes to charge up that Tri-Bolt, Replicant is immediately on hand to throw a glove their way. But this time around, well, Iceman actually doesn't have the time to get it charged up. They got the knockdown on Replicant, but the Dragon was still firing. So there was nothing that they could do about it. Now they have the chance to get it charged up, and Replicant very nearly disarmed them immediately. Heck, I'm weak on the left-hand side as well. If it goes down, that will definitely be a problem, both with Rush set and ready to go. Another quick little 1-2 chain as Iceman again continues to pop this pressure up. And it will be the rush from Replicant first. Iceman caught on the back foot. 290 damage, sends them into the corner. Replicant can't quite pin them there for the time being. Gets caught with a wayward bolt, but it's not charged, so Iceman cannot take advantage of it just yet. You just know that they are waiting until they get a little bit closer to that critical condition before they fire on in with the rest of it. They have enough time to get the bolts up. Oh, do they? No, they don't. It didn't get charged up in time, and that is just going to hit shield and nothing more than that. They'll have to find another way through, and they don't even have the charge up. It doesn't matter though, because the bolts keep going on through uncontested, and Replicant cannot allow any more of that to hit at this stage. 5 seconds left on the clock. Another wayward nade. Iceman just needs to not get caught by anything, and that will suffice. They'll hold on to the lead. Replicant will have rush advantage going in to the second point, but crucially, it's set point for Iceman. Tri-Bolt and Ice Dragon versus the Phoenix and the Hydra. Remember that this stage was Replicant's pick, and immediately goes in with the rush, but misses it! And allows Iceman to get the charge up on the bolt as well. Another bolt is going to catch with the stun into the grab combination, and Iceman has a very nice lead in the early stages, has rush set up and ready to go as well. Another Hydra finally does pick its way through Iceman, so no perfect undercard. And Replicant, again, another successful hit. Despite losing out on that rush exchange early on in, they've got to make sure they call Iceman's rush on point here. Otherwise, it could yet go the other way. They're already past the halfway mark. Phoenix finally rallies on up, curves on around, but the Dragon again catches Replicant as they go for the jump. And it actually puts Replicant in a dangerous position here. A rush will absolutely KO them at this kind of range. We've seen it before, time and time again. And Replicant actually goes, you know what? I'll go with the rush first. 355. It pops Iceman into critical, who does still have the rush at their disposal. And Replicant knows full well that will be beautifully helped. Gets the grab, puts Iceman pretty much on one poke away. Just about gets away with the Dragon. The Phoenix comes swiping on through, and Replicant keeps themselves in it. And so we go once again. And Iceman will start with the rush advantage. They'll take that Dragon out of the equation. Comes in with the rush and starts as they mean to go on. 230 damage. Gets the nade up on the permacharge. And again rolls Replicant straight out of it. The bouncy bubbly shield from Replicant finally finds a way to get their Hydra through it. Goodness me, you just see Iceman's camera just having to really snap to adjust to where Replicant had placed themselves. But still keeps the health lead. Another self-destruct from the nade on the left-hand side. And again, another quick little tag from Replicant. Rushes on through the exchange and shifts the advantage back in their favor. Iceman isn't too far away from a rush if they can just chain up a couple more hits. Another nade self-destruct, and this is getting dangerous. Iceman knows it's now or never. They both do an exchange, but the nade is going to hit. It is not enough to get the actual juggle with the rush, so Replicant is on 1 HP. Anything at this stage from Iceman will suffice. The Hydra is going to hit. Iceman is so close, and Iceman's going to get caught. Iceman is caught by the Phoenix. It swoops on in. It gives Replicant one heck of a lifeline. And that could have gone either way, but somehow Replicant is going to get away with it. 2 points to 1. What a heck of a match that was. And it is Replicant back into Winners Final, where they will now take on Riffer. What a great match. Oh my goodness me, well that was everything you could have wanted from those two. We've seen it time and time again. But a great showing regardless, and it does mean we now get ourselves ready for Winners Final. And you know what that means. Best of fives cometh. Better make sure you have your drinks on hand, because we are gonna need them. And we can confirm that the underground bracket has also advanced. Grimwood has taken out a lawyer by 2 points to 0. Yoshi has been defeated by Penzo, but also by 2 points to 1. So Yoshi Yoshi has taken the game out of Aloya, Yam, and Penzo today. And Yam was 2 of those, so very well played from Yoshi Bowser. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they are going to do in the coming few tournaments. It does mean that Underground Round 3, that is your Underground quarterfinals, I should tell you. Ratha versus Grimwood, that'll be spicy. And Iceman versus Penzo, that will also be pretty nice as well. But this is where our main focus will be. Replicant, the Invitational Champion, having bested Riffer not once but twice last week. We'll now see if they can make it a hat trick and take out the reigning, defending, undisputed EU Arms Challenge Cup champion of the world. It's not champion of the world, the champion of Europe, Layla. Come on, you should know better than that. I know you were going for the references, but it's a Europe, it's not the world. But it may as well be with the amount of wins that Riffer has had. We are set. We are ready. It is Replicant on the left-hand side of your screen as Lollipop. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side of your screen, it's going to be Riffer. Because, of course, it's Riffer. The fact that this is just not updated properly in the slightest, but it's fine. We're set, and we are goo. Lollipop versus Misango. It is the Cracker and the Coolerang for Riffer in the early stages with that bulked-up mask already deployed. And again, start as they mean to go on, trying to get these quick 1-2 chains in, trying to slow Replica down and actually pin them straight into that corner. They are not in the mood to be conceding another matchup against Replicant, especially in the early stages. They want to establish dominance immediately and already has the yellow mask up, so that basically means if that mask is up and both deploy the rush, it will be Riffer who wins out that exchange no matter what. And so far, another knockdown onto Replicant keeps them at bay. Riffer incredibly comfortable in the early stages. Another Cracker hit just lights up our wonderful clown friend, who is actually going to go for the rush anyway and actually hits it. Riffer doesn't get theirs activated in time. 325 damage does go through, but it's still a big health deficit to actually roll on back. And now the red mask is deployed and Riffer goes, you know what, that's a free hit for me. That will be a KO. Thank you very much. And so we progress, and look at that, Riffer already bringing out the big old electrical gun that is that Siki. Replicant, Coolerang, and Hydra, and again the blue mask now up for Riffer as well, so you can see how much quicker Misango can be. Utilizing that to great effect in the early stages, and so far, so good. The Cracker again finds its way through. It can be punched through anything, but again, the Coolerang is mostly going out of its way, so as long as it avoids the Hydra, Riffer is absolutely fine. Gets the yellow mask equipped in preparation for the rush exchange, but is actually disarmed and now frozen as well by Replicant, who is playing this a little bit more patiently here, it must be said, utilizing that range and keeping Riffer just tucked down there in the bottom area, very close to that hot pocket. Yellow mask back up again, but again, falls foul of another Hydra hit. And Replicant is okay to just bide their time and wait it out. The rush is just not going to happen. Replicant just waddles around with the shield and goes, look, well, you haven't hit me. And absolutely fine, has much control over this situation. Another chiller, another chilled hit with the Coolerang. Finally manages to rinse on through with the crack. The Seiki is just not really finding any purchase in this matchup. It's mostly there for show at this stage because Replicant just keeps on hitting with the Hydra and the Coolerang. The Hydra keeps running clean through them, and the second it hits, it just disarms the mask straight away. I'm actually quite surprised if Riffa sticks with this. Actually, no, Riffa does stick with the Seiki, so it didn't work for them in the previous point, but they are confident that they can make it work. With the Coolerang and the Hydra for Replicant is going to come up yet again. Cracker finally finds its way through, and the Seiki does catch the explosion at last. Yellow Mask is up, and they will go for the rush, and now this is where it's dangerous. 440 damage. And just like that, Riffa has complete control of the situation. The Hydra bounces off the totem. Riffa again just bides the time, gets out of dodge, chip damage, and nothing more than that. Actually catches 50 on the back foot, but look at the health deficit that Replicant has here. They needed to get a successful hit with that rush. Not only did they not, they already find themselves in critical condition. Another big time shot from the Seiki. Riffa knows they have this matchup in the bag here. With just over 40 seconds to go, a hit from anything will do. That is the anything. A cracker from the rush, the very first one. And it will be the champion himself who starts with the initiative. So Replicant able to come back on that second point. You thought like the Seiki just was not working for Riffa in that exchange, but Riffa quickly adapting to everything that Replicant has to bring to the table and brought it back beautifully. And again, the Seiki excels so much in that rush. If the rush goes through, and especially with an arm like the Pop or the Cracker, it just keeps you in the air. The Seiki could just come through. If it juggles even just the once, it's still a lot of damage that it's putting onto the table. It's just about the same amount of damage that you would expect from a normal rush. If it gets a second bite of the cherry, it goes past 400, and that's when it becomes incredibly scary. And Riffa managed to use that to great call, and it's actually going to be Replicant who is now going to pick Ninja College. Now, Replicant didn't win on this last time round. We've seen Riffa and we've seen Iceman win on this exchange, on this stage so far. Replicant actually losing out to Iceman when we went here last time round, so it's interesting to see Replicant pick this stage in the early goings. But Riffa decided to stick with Misangro. They didn't switch to Ninjara, so we'll see if this can work against the Lollipop. As the Tri-Bolt and the Phoenix comes out, so switching out the Hydra for the Tri-Bolt, and actually getting a couple tags in there. Can't quite get the grab as Riffa just bounces around. Again, that Red Mask just keeping up so much damage. But again, both with Rush set and ready to go, and it's actually going to be the Phoenix that finally flies on through, but actually gives Riffa a chance to switch out their masks, but doesn't really matter because the Rush is going to come out, and again, another 440 damage. Replicant immediately tries to go for the Rake Up Rush, but Riffa just coasts all the way back to the high ground, renders it all useless, and gets another punish onto Replicant. Make that a grab as well. It means Replicant is one poke away from going down. That speed boost for Riffa now just going to go away. Riffa knowing full well they don't need to worry about switching up to anything else at this stage. They've got 20 seconds left to hold on to this or just get the KO. That will do as well. And as I said at the start of this set, I don't think Riffa has any intentions of taking their hands off that Challenge Cup anytime soon. They want to hold on to it for just a little bit longer. And again, another successful chill at the start from Replicant. At least robs Riffa of the ability to use their totems, to use the masks. Just has them sit there for just a little while longer. Another successful trade with that Cracker with the blue mask up, but immediately jumps straight on into the chiller. And now both sides have the rush set and ready to go. A Cracker hit, gonna send Replicant back down. Surely that'll be Yellow Mask equipped for Riffa, and it is. And this is where it's always that little bit scary, that little bit intimidating, as Riffa just sort of like tries to wind you up, like bait you out. Actually goes for the rush anyway. 305 damage. Notice the fact that Lasiki is no longer in play. They feel like Replicant would have probably gotten an answer for it, and actually gets a rush of their own, pinning Riffa into the corner for the time being. A grab is also going to keep them down there. That's the last thing Riffa wanted to fall foul to, because I think it gives Replicant the lead. Well, now it definitely gives Replicant the lead as Riffa enters critical condition. Riffa throwing everything at the table, but again, the Kraken can be punched through by pretty much everything. They do trade, but crucially, it's Riffa who actually gets first, and Replicant not going for any kind of follow-up from that. They do have the lead, crucially. And with 15 seconds left on the clock, Riffa's got to do everything in their power, and they actually do get themselves a hit in there and some chip damage. Now, is that enough for the lead? That might be enough for the lead, and with 5 seconds to go, they're going to go for the rush and maybe stop them from doing anything else. It clips them. Replicant's not going to get any purchase on that, and that is already a 2-0 lead for Riffa. Goodness me. The champion leaves it incredibly late. But that was some high quality cheese from the mysterious Misango. It is 2-0 in this set. And Riffa looks to have put away any doubts that were had against him after the Invitational. Already trying to book their ticket into Grand Finals. And by the way, it should be noted that if Riffa can make it into Grand Finals, he will have made it there 6 times in a row. If he does that, that's a personal best for him. And I'm trying to think if anybody else has that accolade at this stage. Actually, only one person has made 6 finals in a row before, and that was Yada. The only record that Yada still has, and it could be tied. God damn it! Great. The only record that Yada still has, and it could actually go from this. Well, it will be tied. It wouldn't be completely gone, but it would be tied by Riffa if he wins this matchup. That tells you the dominance this man has. As we go into Viados, Lollipop's home territories. We come in with the Nade and the Phoenix, going up against the Cracker and the Coolerang, as is usually the case for at this stage. Both just trading out in the central area, but you don't really want to be backing into that corner anytime soon. It gives your opponent the incentive to just try and keep you pinned down in there, and you see Replica just quickly shuffle their way back towards that central area. Does get picked on down in the end. Gives Riffa that initiative, both with rush set and ready to go, and you see Riffa continue to keep that red mask on for the time being, just keep that damage up, and again another successful Cracker exchange. And now switching on things to the yellow, but Replicant knew immediately that kind of move was coming, quickly disarms them, and Riffa will be buying their time to try and get that back if they can. But it does leave them a little bit vulnerable, which is why you saw Replicant immediately try to just get the punish in before Riffa can get to moving. But a grab is going to keep them out of range, and now gives them the time to get that yellow mask equipped without any kind of threat of losing it. Another 1-2 chain. Grab is going to go through this time round and not register, but Replicant is still in critical condition already. The nade will disarm it. And Replicant, well, they're already 1 hit away from going down. Riffa tried to go for the finishing touch with the grab, but actually gets sent down into critical themselves. Now, Replicant has to get a grab, a punch and a grab if they want any part of this, but unfortunately in trying to go for that, they jump straight into Riffa's hand, who abides their time, swings on in with the last hit, and puts themselves on set point already. Now just going to miss this time round as the Cracker just bolts on off to the right hand side. Another Cracker hit takes Replicant down in the early stages, and Riffa does have rush advantage as well. You just get a feeling it's only a matter of time before Riffa decides to deploy that, both at similar health at this stage. Another successful Cracker hit, and now here it comes, and it does indeed swoop on past, only for 140, but again, damage is damage. The Coolerang again Oh, goodness me, a double Coolerang chain. That was filthy, and you know it. And Riffa, with that, takes a massive health lead. Replicant already into critical. Finally gets a Rogue Hydra hit. Trying to keep Riffa boxed into this corner if they can. But that Coolerang has been an annoyance from the get-go. And I have no words. No words. Riffa with the audacity to go for the grab whilst Replicant is mid-rush. The awareness that this man has. Well, the one and only record Yada has been tied. 6 finals in a row for Riffa. And for Replicant, they went from the highest of highs to beating them twice in the Invitational last week, straight back down to losing 3-0 to Riffa. Well, that's the champion for you. That's just what he does. And now we cast our attention to the underground bracket. Grimwood has taken out Aloy by 2 points to 0, and Penzo took out Yoshi by 2 points to 1. Following up from that, Iceman took out Penzo by 2 points to 1. So Penzo took a game away from Iceman. That is very cool to hear. And Grimwood took out Riffa by 2 points to 0. So your top 4 is established. Riffa, Replicant, Grimwood, and Iceman. Which of those latter 2 will be making it through into the next round? Into the podium positions? That is the question that we are about to answer. As Grimwood and Iceman do battle once again. We saw them do battle earlier. It was a 2-1. It went to Iceman in that exchange. And that was a best of 3. We are now into the underground semi-final. And it is also a best of 3. It is the last best of 3 of the day. Honestly not sure how this is going to go. I mean, we knew it was close last time around. Because of course it was close last time around. This is what these two do on a regular basis. Heck, this is what a lot of the top players in this scene do. They always seem to go the distance. They always find a way of improving. And you know full well that's exactly what both of these two have been doing time and time and time again. So it may have finished 2-1 to Iceman earlier, but don't bet that it'll be the same way again. You just never know which way the pendulum will swing. It is time for the British tournament side of this stream, as the Underground semi-final and the Underground final will be contested in all British affairs, as Iceman on the left-hand side of your screen will do battle against Grimwood in our Underground semi-final. Iceman on the left-hand side of your screen, Ribbon Girl, Toaster, and the Hardest of Slap. Grimwood, meanwhile, coming in with Cobra, the Clap Back, and the Popper. And already using the Popper to great effect, popping Iceman straight down into the corner. The clapback will repel pretty much either of the arms that Iceman has right back at them. And if they're already charged up in their fiery state, they immediately roast out Ribbon Girl. And that's exactly what happens, is Grimwood is just putting on an incredible array of pressure that Iceman is just not having an answer for here. Iceman is already a hit away from going down, and is that a perfect? That is an effing perfect! What? Hey, I think Grimwood's learnt from the Iceman match earlier. Holy damn, where has this come from? Grimwood is just on fire here. The popper has not really done much. It's just been the clapback firing back the toaster of Iceman. Both are going to go for the rush, but it's going to be the Seeky that fligs on through. Grimwood a little too confident there, trying to fire on in with that exchange of their own, but the Seeky, as long as it impacts, will be enough to just wrestle control away, and Iceman at least gets damage on the board. The Seeky, unfortunately, is going to get rebounded by the clapback, but the toaster does punch through the pop-up, as it will always do, since it is the heavier of the two arms. But again, that clapback is still fighting its way through, and Iceman using that verticality of Rip and Go, bouncing up every now and then, trying to fling the Seeky over the top of the clapback, because that's really the only way through at this stage. They don't really have any curved arms to really hinder that clapback, but so far they've managed to bring it back down to their kind of level. They are going to get clipped again by the popper. Iceman does have rush advantage. They could go for the KO if they want, and in fact they will do so, and does catch Grimwood again on the back foot. Nothing that they could do. No shield this time round. And that brings this back down into a 1v1 situation, and now Iceman going to keep that Seeky on hand, and immediately Grimwood aims straight for it, gets the disarm, gets the explosion, a bit of damage, but again, well, anything you can do to yourself, I can do back to you. That Seeky finally finds a way through, but the clapback forces them into a juggle. 395 damage. Iceman's health practically halved in that exchange alone. And the popper again just sends them back down to that corner. The clapback keeps the Seeky at bay this time round. And again, another quick fire popper hit, whilst the toaster was not in contention. And Grimwood has built up one heck of a lead here. Iceman does have rush and pops themselves into critical. They are going to have to find a way through big time if they want to be able to put the pressure on. But again, another successful popper hit, and the clapback just decides to clap on its own. That is going to be the point for Grimwood, and gives them the lead in this best of 3. Grimwood was able to take a game away from Iceman earlier today, but crucially that match did go to Iceman in the end by 2 points to 1. Grimwood will be hoping that they are able to take this away as a 2-0 themselves this time around, and not allow Iceman a chance to come back at them. We've seen 2 perfects on stream today now, and honestly, that one came out of absolutely nowhere from Grimwood. You know, we see the clapback come out, and sometimes you'll see people just sort of like find a way around it. They always bring something to the table to counteract the fact that the clapback comes out, but there was nothing in that one that time around. Iceman had nothing that they could do against that. It was just consistently straight back at them no matter what they tried. Now, we are going to see Min Min enter the field. Hydra and the Ice Dragon are going to be deployed, and immediately slips on in with the Hydra. The clapback does return alongside that popper, so again, the laser won't be able to fire back against the clapback, but crucially, Iceman can still have it on out and still swipe away around the field to try and get some form of damage at the very least. Just like that, just catches them as they go forward. Arm weak on the right-hand side though, which is not what Iceman needs. And, oh well, there it goes. It's disarmed, but crucially, the Hydra with a nice little sneaky poke actually keeps Iceman in this matchup and keeps it in a, I was going to say, somewhat favorable position, but that rush quickly changes that around. 360 damage. Iceman does have a rush, but anything will likely KO Iceman at this stage, and I'm afraid that's exactly what the popper is going to do. And so, it's set point already for Grimwood, who is, well, waiting, just biding their time at this stage. Iceman will finally bring in a curved arm to try and counteract that clapback, but immediately gets caught by the popper and wakes up into a grab as well. The amount of confidence that Grimwood has at this stage, they are doing everything at their disposal to just keep Iceman grounded. 260 damage finally comes through on the rush, gives Iceman a chance to charge up that Hydra, and look at how big and dangerous those bolts are now, but crucially, they are still susceptible to the clapback. They will still come back and bite you in the butt. But so far, it's going to be Grimwood who gets ran on through with them once again. The Popper is just being consistently grounded down by the Hydra, and it's been great to see. The clapback finally does a little bit of damage, but Grimwood knows that this is a bit more of a fight here. Finally gets the rush, 200, and for 200, goodness, every single time I thought it was done, 320 is what it added up to, and the rush from Iceman does not get anything. Grimwood tried to go for the cheeky grab of their own, but it's not going to hit this time round. Another Hydra riles on out, just under 40 seconds left to go. Iceman's still very much in this matchup, but they cannot afford to be taking any further damage. That grab would have been devastating, but so far they are both evenly matched here. Iceman gets another tag. A grab would absolutely KO them here, and with 20 seconds left to go, they are almost at rush potential. Grimwood has theirs, and never mind, doesn't need it. Big time grab, the clapback sends them down, and that is that. Grimwood lost 2-1 earlier to Iceman, but it's not going to happen again. It's a 2-0 win for Grimwood, and Iceman is not making the podiums this time round. That is where Iceman will end. And Grimwood books their ticket into the top 3. So, would you believe it? For the third... Good lord, are you kidding me? For the third Challenge Cup in a row, your top 3, in no order, will feature Riffer, Grimwood, and Replicant. You sense a theme at this point, don't you? You really do sense a theme developing. But as we take our look to the bracket, Riffer, the reigning champion, is just biding their time in grand finals. But who will be meeting them? And to be fair, will he be worried about either of these participants? He has bested them time and time again, as we have seen. But having said that, he also knows full well what each of these individuals can bring to the table. We've seen Grimwood pull this back time and time again. They can absolutely play with a variety of characters themselves. Replicant, with that recency bias in mind, beating Riffer in the Invitational, you know that they'll want another chance to try and redeem themselves. But we also know how close these two had their matches last time round as well, so anything can happen. And so, now we wait. Now we wait. Best of threes are done and dusted. It is best of fives from here on out. Who knows how this will play out. But it should be fun. And like I said, this is the old British affair at this stage, since the Underground semi-final was contested between two Brits. The Underground final, as a result, contested via two Brits. One of these Brits will make it on to the Grand Final to take on the German. That is Riffer. The reigning champion. That is Riffer. The revolutionary, undisputed European champion of arms, Riffer. And as our bands are done and done, it looks like it will be Mausoleum to start ourselves off with. Listen, Riffer. I mean, for those of you who have no idea what's going on, basically the chat is up so I can see the little chit chat as well. So I see you all. I see you getting the hype and enjoying the good old moments that are coming on by, and it's always nice. But yeah, Riffer just pinging up every now and then. And bearing in mind that Riffer also helps to run things behind the scenes as well. Yes, one of the TOs is also a participant. You like to hear it. But they're not the only ones involved with a lot of the tournament stuff. A lot of the brackets that you see here are all done behind the scenes. So Massive shout outs to every single one of them. They do an amazing job to bring you what you see here and now. And I guess, help to keep it going, I guess. Keep the hype. Be the hype girl. That's what I'm here for. I'm very much, yeah, when it comes to actually playing ARMS, I am no goo. I am no good at all. But I know the game, I know how fun it is, and I know what I can do. And that's cast. And that's just not stop. And we are good to go. Had confirmation from both of our players that we are set, and it is going to be Grimwood versus Replicant. And Grimwood is cosplaying as Riffa. Alright, I see how it is. I see how it is. So Grimwood with Ninjara coming in with the Kablammer and the Toaster. Having said that, I don't think you'll ever see Riffa use this combination on Ninjara, so maybe not quite cosplaying as Riffa. Meanwhile, Replicant coming in with the Phoenix and the Roaster and immediately gets caught with that big old explosive hammer. And wow, Grimwood is not backing down in the slightest. Immediately up in Replicant's face, realize they have a chance to be able to get Replicant out of that grand final before they can really get going. Rush will come out immediately, 335 damage, and Grimwood's looking for a perfect. Grimwood is looking for another perfect in this competition. Are you absolutely kidding me? It will not happen. The Phoenix does manage to fly directly through the middle, and Grimwood finally does take a point of damage, but Replicant is already into crit, and that is just unbelievable. Replicant with the rush, but you feel like they're probably not going to use this anytime soon. Another Kablammer hit is going to send Replicant back. Pretty much anything at this stage will KO them, and Ninjara is a hard target to hit as it is, but the Phoenix does finally fly on through, picking up another little bit of damage. Grab almost connects, but the Kablammer just about makes it out in time to deny it, and the Roaster connects as well. 22 seconds on the clock, another Roaster hit. Where the heck is this coming from, Replicant? This has been a back and forth. First point of that, there's been no doubt, and Replicant could potentially KO, but it's not going to happen. The Toast will finally punch on through, and Grimwood can breathe a sigh of relief. That very nearly got away from them. And now straight back into the thick of things, both with the rush set and ready to go. And a grab, catching out Lola as they mean to take that elevated state. But it's not going to happen this time around. Grimwood just immediately forced them, doesn't give them a chance to get any kind of purchase in. And the Toaster gets denied, finally weakens that arm a little bit. Both go in for the rush. And Grimwood again using Ninjara's ability to just teleport to that side. Immediately fire on in with the rest of the rush and give them the health lead. Another 1-2 chain with the Toaster. It's going to put Replicant on the cusp of critical. And this is a very strong showing for Grimwood. They are determined to make it back into grand finals. The Roaster not quite finding its mark, but it does weaken the arm on the right hand side, and Replicant just continues to bounce around, finally does disarm it. Gets a little bit of a punish, but they've still got a long way to go if they want to bring this back down. I mean, we saw them almost do it in the last matchup, but unfortunately they're caught out as they try to get away from the approach. They didn't want to shield through most of it, but unfortunately Grimwood's just consistent momentum here is gonna see them through. 1-0 start in the early stages. Well, Grimwood brings out the Ninjara and just completely runs with it, and Replicant, I mean, they very nearly pulled it back. That first point was an experience in and of itself, but we are going to be going straight back to Mausoleum. Replicant determined to learn a little bit more about this exchange and maybe see if they can make a slightly different tactic work. Well, we're going to find out. Hydra and the Coolerang for Replicant. Meanwhile, Grimwood is going to bring in the Tri-Blast and the Toaster. And we are underway once again. And again, Replicant trying to be incredibly aggressive, trying to keep Grimwood pinned against the wall to try and at least narrow down where the Coolerang can go. Again, getting picked out almost immediately by the Bolts, and the Bolts are being incredibly consistent for Grimwood at this stage. They are always teaming to find a way through, and again, Replicant, Loader is a bouncy character. They try to shift their position all over the place, despite catching in with the Coolerang. Grimwood got a knockdown off their own, gets a grab to boot. It doesn't crack the middle platform in the slightest, so there won't be any trampoline shenanigans at this stage. Both get their rush charged up at relatively the same time, and now again, just looking for that consistency. Ninjawa again has that ability to just teleport the second they've got the shield up, but they do not block like normal characters do. A rush will come through for 270. Pops Replicant down into the critical position, and unfortunately dashes straight on in to another wayward glove from Grimwood. I get the feeling all of our finals are going to be a little one-sided here, for lack of a better term, because we saw Riffa do a 3-0 against Replicant earlier, and Grimwood, it feels like they are going to try and go on a similar tear as Replicant comes in with the nade and the Coolerang. They're doing everything they can to keep themselves involved. They finally catch Grimwood up into a tornado, 100, make that 210 damage. A good start for Replicant, but they need to be able to keep this up on their side. The nade does come through. Remember, it is unguided, so it is a lot harder to aim with it, but it does pack that extra punch if they can land with it. But Grimwood so far has been incredibly quick on their feet. Another grab keeps them in play, keeps Replicant having to really wrestle for control in this matchup. Grimwood is on the cusp of critical, so it must be said, but they do find another way through with the rush. 270 puts them on similar health. Replicant at least does have a rush of their own, so they could choose to try and immediately bring this back if they so wish, but they know full well that Grimwood has been able to punish these time and time again. Grimwood will dip into critical first. The Coolerang and the nade pressuring them against the wall. Replicant gets another tag, 30 seconds on the clock. Finally finds another way through with the Coolerang, but is actually given time for Grimwood to charge that rush up bit by bit. And with 20 seconds left to go, Grimwood may not be afraid to really go for this. Another quick shield on through. They'll take a little bit of damage. That could be enough to see Replicant through, but another wayward toaster hit is going to give Grimwood an incentive to maybe go for a last-ditch KO. That is 5 seconds on the clock. Replicant knows they have this one. As long as they don't do anything, that will be chip damage and nothing forward. Not enough to wrestle it through, and Replicant will hold on to take a point away. And so, here we go again. And crucially, because of all of that chip damage, Replicant practically has a rush set and ready to go at the start of a very crucial point for them. Grimwood just hops on back for the time being as the rush is set and ready to go, but Replicant will not be wanting to deploy that anytime soon. They need to be able to catch Grimwood in a position where they won't be able to wrestle them away from it, and that's exactly what has happened. The bolt has hit. They both exchanged straight after it, but crucially, Grimwood denies Replicant any chance of being able to take heavy damage away from them. And with that kind of confidence, you see another quick little 1-2 chain of their own. Grimwood has the wherewithal to just keep Replicant at bay. The Coolerang is just not getting through as much as they would like to. The Hydra just a little too far away. Another nice Coolerang pick finally comes through, but Grimwood is just biding their time. You know they're waiting to unleash that, and that's exactly what they're going to do, but Replicant gets away with it as he gets ticked by the bolt right at the end, but 15 damage is significantly better than 290. And it keeps Replicant very much in this matchup, and they have rush advantage as well with 25 seconds left to go. But another bolt hit is going to put them ever so closer to critical. A Kablammer hit as well, and they know full well as long as they can land a rush, they'll at least do the damage, but they have to be so careful with it. The arm is weak on the right hand side, but Ninja's going to keep moving anyway. 8 seconds on the clock, both with rush to go. The grab is going to send Grimwood down. A rush could potentially do it, but it's not going to do it. For Replicant, it's going to be Ninjara who gets the better of the exchange, and it is Grimwood who takes a 2-0 lead in the Underground Final. Replicant is incredibly feeling the pain here. After winning the Invitational last week, it just doesn't seem to come up for them when it comes to the Challenge Cup. It reminds me of Sheddy very much, where it used to always be on Sheddy's side of the field for the Scrapstar series, but when it came to the Challenge Cup, it very rarely went their way. It seems to be the case for Replicant, where they could do so well in other sides of the field, but not in the Challenge Cup. They just can't seem to get that finishing touch where it matters most. And now they're 2-0 down and staring down the barrel of a reverse sweep. If they are to keep their chances of a Challenge Cup victory alive, they will get the grab in the early stages with the Hydra and the Parabola. So we've got the most electrifying umbrella in competitive entertainment. Grimwood again fires on in with the Triblast and the Toaster. Not going to find their marks on this occasion. Replicant knowing full well the kind of strategy Grimwood is using at this stage, and finally finds a way through with the Hydra. It's always so good to just run straight on through, but it is going to be Grimwood who activates the rush first. 245 damage. It gives them the health lead and quickly runs right around. That Parabola does not want to be giving Replicant a chance to really properly utilize that. The rush will come out and actually does tag them. 235, at least shields out the last part of it, so no finishing touch on that, but the Hydra makes up for it anyway. Runs clean through Grimwood, and this is exactly what Replicant needed. They've lost to Grimwood twice on Mausoleum so far. They do not want to be losing a third time, and this is exactly how you do it. Hydra finally finds its mark. Grimwood on the cusp of critical, 20 seconds left on the clock. And Replicant has a sizable health lead at this stage, but Grimwood says, you know what, I'm going to go for it anyway. Gets the rush, and they are just a hit or two away from potentially taking this through. The arm is weak, and Replicant says, no, absolutely not. I am not allowing you to do that to me. Not a chance. The second they realized the arm was weak, the second they knew Grimwood was coming in for that pressure, the rush had to be deployed. So it does finally give them a spot to breathe, but they're not out of this yet. They need to convert this into an actual point. And so far, this is exactly how you do it. Grab, unfortunately, just a little bit astray on this occasion, and the Parabola just gonna it's just gonna coast on through. Grimwood just dances around it for the time being. But so far, it's only been chipped up. No sooner have I said that, Replicant finally takes the actual bit of damage. That is how it always goes. But Grimwood, crucially, does not get anything with the rush either. Replicant gets the heck out of that. Does get tagged in the end by the explosion. Notice the fact that Grimwood is consistently running an all-explosive arm in this matchup so far. The Kablammer and the Triblast respectively. But Replicant finally chooses to come in with the rush. Nothing is going to hit this time around. They will keep the health lead, but crucially it gives Grimwood another chance to maybe get that rush up, but they realize they double committed. They overcommitted with the arms when the Parabola was way too close to them, and that was always going to shock them at that stage. Replicant punches straight on through Grimwood's attempted onslaught, and with 20 seconds left to go, it looks like that is going to be that. The Triblast will at least stick the landing and pop 240 damage onto Replicant. 10 seconds left on the clock. Grimwood had to go for the grab, but it did not land. And with that, surely that will be a point on the board for Replicant. 3 seconds to go. Grimwood knows it's over. Replicant knows it's definitely done and dusted. And it's not over yet. Replicant, when it mattered most, gets a point. We have had 3 matches. 3 matches at Mausoleum. Tell me we're going somewhere that's not Mausoleum. I love the fact that I said right at the start of the stream that it was like, oh wow, we haven't seen Mausoleum yet. Now we're seeing nothing but. We are just about to hit the 2-hour mark of what is the 71st installment of the EU Arms Challenge Cup. Riffa, Le Champion, waiting in the grand final for the winner between these two, Grimwood and Replicant. Replicant, the invitational winner from last week, going up against Grimwood, who has some beef to slice up against Riffa if they can get themselves in there. It is going to be Bust the Beach. It is going to be Min for Grimwood. Did Grimwood announce that? I don't think Grimwood announced that. Oh no, wait. He didn't need to because Grimwood didn't win it. Never mind. I still thought Grimwood won the last point. So no, Grimwood doesn't need to announce the fact that the character switch was happening. So Ninjara is gone. In comes Min, and it's going to be double Chiller, which is an interesting choice for Grimwood to come in with. Basically means one of these is going to be perma-charged up, providing they can stay out of the hot pocket. As Replicant comes on in, staying as Lola, keeping in with the Hydra and the Phoenix. And immediately Grimwood is just going to play this at the back for the time being. Finally has the Chiller charged up on the left-hand side. But again, it's wrestled away by Replicant, who is determined to not be conceding any more points than what they've already done. Both with Rush set and ready to go. And it's going to be Replicant who gets the initiative on the Rush exchange. They activated it first. Grimwood just could not get the Chillers up in time. And so that exchange easily goes Replicant's way. Grimwood into critical condition. The grab is not going to reach from there this time, my friend. Replicant finally gets tagged on the right hand side. Arm weakened but finally fades away. Caught with the Chiller again as they go down. It gives Grimwood just enough time to get that charge straight back up. Another successful hit. Tries to go for the grab. Baits Replicant's response out and comes in with a rush of their own. And just like that, Grimwood has the lead with 15 seconds to go. It's not over yet. Both in critical condition after all. One hit can easily change it. But unfortunately, it's changed it for the worse for Replicant. As it's going to be Grimwood who is going to take the initiative. And that is set point. Replicant now thrown on in with the power baller and actually gets the hit with it. Can't capitalize on it though. Grimwood gets away with it and also gets away with the rush as well. Will just be chip damage and nothing more than that. Grimwood has the audacity to charge up the perma charge on the left arm, but immediately gets it disarmed as well as Replicant finds a way through with a hit of their own. Grimwood does have the rush, and knowing full well the Replicant did not get anything of theirs, they know they have a chance to be able to take a lead and maybe secure this set in the process. Replicant does still have the health lead and is at least chipping away with some kind of damage. Even if it's just against the shield, it still does ping for 5. And again, weakening the arm as well on the right hand side, not giving Grimwood the time to really get involved when this. Tries to go for the grab. The grab was a little higher than I think Grimwood was expecting, and Replicant quickly gets the heck out of dodge. 40 seconds left on the clock, both now with rush set and ready to go. And Grimwood now in the one place you really don't want to be on Bust the Beach. It is the hot pocket. Try to go for the grab, but Replicant says no thank you. Down into critical you go. 30 seconds left on the clock, and the Hydra runs clean through Grimwood. One apiece. But crucially, it is still set point for Grimwood. And immediately charges up that Chakram. Has the Roaster now alongside it, so no more Chiller play. They're going for the damage and they are going for the win. Meanwhile, Replicant, Hydra and the Power Baller not going to change anything that is working for you right now. And Grimwood knows full well that a double arm switch is definitely going to help things up. They do manage to rush on through. Replicant has no choice but to take it. 335 damage. They're not too far away from a rush of their own, but they have crucially got to stop Grimwood from landing these kind of hits. The Chakram is rolling on through at the moment. Finally, the Hydra runs through and takes that arm away and pins Grimwood into the hot pocket. 390 damage, and just like that, Replicant has control again, and Grimwood kept the shield up for too long, and that is easily punished from Replicant. You thought there might have been enough times for it to come out, but it just did not happen. Chakram is back up to its deadly state again. And Grimwood crucially isn't too far away from a rush of their own. 30 seconds left on the clock. It's very dicey here at this stage, and Replicant knowing full well that this is not what you want to be doing. Sidestepped into a grab, and that gives Grimwood the incentive to maybe go for something a little extra special. Replicant might get caught here, but doesn't. Actually backs on out of it. Chip damage and nothing more with 10 seconds left on the clock. Grimwood is in critical. Replicant has rush, and the Shack Grabber is actually going to miss. The rush doesn't land, so Grimwood has to get a grab to win this matchup, and it's not going to happen. Match 5 cometh. Replicant is going to tie this set up. Oh my gosh, reverse sweep. Reverse sweep may just happen. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Grimwood was 2-0 up. 2 wins on Mausoleum back to back. And not only has Replicant found a way back, it's 2-2. The last Challenge Cup that won, it went Riffer, Grimwood, Replicant. This will determine if it's the same top 3 as last time, or if Replicant is going to find a way to come back into Grand Finals and take the fight back to Riffer once again. Max Brass is out for Grimwood. You know that this was coming. And so too does the stick on Buster Beach. Double nade for the Brass, Tri-Bolt and the Phoenix for Replicant, who is determined to find a way back into that grand final. They won another go at Riffer. They won to prove that last week's shenanigans were not a one-off. And so far it is just a roll of explosion at the moment. And finally the Phoenix flies on through, but Grimwood has flung off enough punches to already give them the rush advantage. Both trying to go for the grab plays though. And Replicant is going to win the better of that and somehow gets the grab. What the heck is going on here? Stop playing grab spam. The rush is going to come out and it's going to be chip damage and nothing more than that for Grimwood. I know that Brass likes to give those big old hugs, but that doesn't mean you have to keep spamming it every 5 seconds, my friends. And so far, Brass almost being pinned into the pocket, but Replicant is just being completely blown away, no pun intended, by the big old explosions that Grimwood is bringing to the table. They are not messing around. Replicant is just being walled out. And down they go, and once again it's set point for Grimwood, who started off incredibly huge. Now there are 3 nades on the field. The only one that isn't is a Phoenix on the side of Replicant, but already being walled out by another series of explosions, and a big old hug as well is going to just take complete control. Both are going to go for the rush, but Grimwood gets the werewolf, backs on up, and comes in with another nade. Finally gets poked by one of Replicant, but who knows, that might be the only damage you'll see from Replicant in this matchup. Grimwood is just in complete control. No matter how high you can bounce, Brass has got you covered, and that is done. Replicant is out of this, having done all of the hard work, having came from 2-0 down to tie it on up. Grimwood just sticks Replicant in the corner and says, eat my explosion. 3 points to 2, and that last match was emphatic. Grimwood was not conceding that spot, and in the grand finals they go. Replicant will be third once again, and it means that we have a repeat of the last cup's top 3 loadout. It was Replicant then, and now it's Replicant again. So, it means the grand final will be this. It will be reigning champion Riffer to take on Grimwood. Well, it has been one of those tournaments where once again you just never know which way it's going to go. Grimwood with a 2-0 lead, only for Replicant to come all the way back to 2-2, only for Grimwood to say, you know what, brass double nade, GG. It's just... It's devastating to see how that plays out, but the Invitational winner will not be making it into Grand Final on the follow-up Challenge Cup, so it means it will be Riffa to take on Grimwood. And between these two, honestly, I'm unsure how this is going to go. And I have a few reasons for that. On the basis of that, you know, Riffa has been on a test so far. Riffa is looking to be 6-6 on their current streak. They have made it to the finals 6 times in a row. They are looking to win the Challenge Cup 6 times in a row. They are looking to win their 24th cup. The stats speak for themselves. For Grimwood, they would want nothing more than to not just stop, than to not just see Riffa's reign end last week with the Challenge Cup defeat, but to also end it full stop in the Challenge Cup by winning in the Grand Finals. I honestly don't know which way this is going to go, but we're about to find out. Grimwood will start with the Max Brass. Riffa will start with Misango, and we will start on Temple Grounds. Your Grand Final is underway. Riffa comes in having not conceded a set today. Grimwood comes in from the underground bracket. It's a must-win for Grimwood. And they know it full well. Into that grab immediately with that chakram, and they try Bolt going for the double stun shenanigans against a very heavy ability character in the side of Misango with that cracker and the Seiki. Incredibly quick, knowing full well they've got to utilize that to the best of its advantage. As long as it hits in its fired up state, it will immediately knock Brass right back on down, which is where Riffa will need to keep them. But still getting caught by the chakram behind the pillars. It at least gives Grimwood a moment to come back into it, but it's going to be Riffa with the rush first and foremost. Can't get the juggle, but still does enough damage to pop Grimwood onto the cusp of critical in the early stages. The grab comes off the totem, and Riffa inadvertently jumps straight in to the rest of the rush. Grimwood pinning them into the corner, but now the turns table, and Riffa at least jumps past one bolt, but cannot jump past two. Arm weak on the left-hand side, and Grimwood is determined to get a point away from this, but the shock from Riffa, it's going to give them the incentive to maybe still yet yoink a KO out of this. Both will now enter into that Grimwood enters into the perma buffed up state, but is going to fall foul of the cracker. Riffa was a hit away from going down, and somehow the Seiki into the grab gives them a lifeline, and they get the point anyway. They'll drop the Seiki for the time being and bring in the Coolerang now alongside that cracker, and also pops on the blue mask for that extra speed boost. Meanwhile, Grimwood is going to bring in the Chiller as well to go alongside that Tri-Ball, so the chakram not helping them as much as they would have liked to. To be fair, it was an incredibly good showing from them, but finally they do get the Bolt Stun into the Chill, into the Wake Up grab, and immediately gives Grimwood that lead straight back, but caught with a Coolerang right back at them. Riffa now starting to slowly take center stage. They've got the yellow mask up. They get another knockdown onto Grimwood, pinning them into the corner. Grimwood goes for the rush, but unfortunately, that's not how it works. The yellow mask is up, Grimwood, and Riffa wins out that exchange by default and gives them the health lead as a result. 40 seconds left on the clock, and Grimwood has got to do it all again if they want to take another point away. A Cracker immediately direct hit. It sends Grimwood into critical, but again, that Cracker is incredibly devastating. As long as it hit, it floors them no matter what, and that is going to be another quick finish. And Riffa starts this set with a win. You can tell he wants that slice of history. He wants records that no one else has, and he wants to keep them as high as possible, as Grimwood is gonna come in with a Masango of his own. Excuse me. Grimwood comes in with double toaster, immediately equips the blue mask for the extra speed. Meanwhile, Riffa comes in with the Cracker and the Coolerang. Arm weak on the left-hand side, but it quickly goes away as they drop in with a blue mask of their own and immediately gets the wake-up grab as well, as Grimwood is just stuck there in the corner. And so far, Riffa starting off incredibly strong. Finally does get knocked down and caught with the wake-up grab as well. And Grimwood proving that they can do this just as well as Riffa. They've definitely been putting in the time and the effort to really bring their game against the Riffa Revolution. And with both having rush again, Riffa with the audacity of it all to go for a grab from that range. Make that 2 grabs in a row. And that puts Grimwood immediately into critical condition. And let's see if the... Well, no, okay. Now what happened? Now what happens in this situation? Both have the yellow mask up. What happens in this situation? Does it just cancel each other out? I've never seen this happen before. It's going to be Grimwood who goes for the grab. Riffa immediately counteracts it. And, well, chip damage and nothing for, but it crucially means that there's only one more hit that is needed. They both get themselves a hit in, but crucially, it's Grimwood who takes the finishing hit. And it means that Riffa once again gets that first point on the board. They'll have to go up against the Hydra and the Toaster of Grimwood. Meanwhile, Grimwood has to go up against the Cracker and the Seeky, which makes its proud return, and immediately dropping in with that blue mask. I think Grimwood kind of needed to do so, but again, it's going to get this roped immediately. Riffa now puts on a blue mask of his own, catches in with the Seeky, and gets an incredibly dirty long-range grab. That was the other side of the stage, and Grimwood again shimmies on in. They're both going to have a little dance party, and it looks like Grimwood might be dropping this point as well. In fact, I definitely think that Grimwood is dropping this point. That is going to be a throwing the towel moment easily. And Riffa is 2 points up in this set already. Are we about to see a very much one-sided grand final here? I hope that is not the case. Grimwood comes in with my favorite character, Mechanica, my main, Coolerang and the Roaster to go up against Riffa's Masango. Not switching in the slightest, going to drop in with the blue mask as well, Cracker and the Seeky. And again, as long as one of those two can hit in a charged up state, it will ruin Grimwood's day. And obviously that jetpack allowing them to just keep that charge going as they move around. Unfortunately, they are going to get knocked straight back down onto their feet as the, well, almost getting trapped into the hot pocket, but both of them are going to wrestle them their way out of there. And again, another quick little 1-2 chain as Grimwood finally begins to get that upper hand back into their field. And again, going in for the kill and actually really pinning Riffa into this pocket. Another rush, juggles them all up in there. But Riffa, with the audacity of it all again, goes for that grabs. They can hit them close and they can hit them far. And again, they still have that rush at their disposal. Chip damage and nothing more than that. But Grimwood crucially will not suffer the wrath of that Seiki this time round. Arm weak on the right hand side, but it does fade away. And again, they both trade out hits, but crucially, it's Riffa who now takes advantage of this, gets caught by the roaster, and Grimwood is just coming all in swinging here. As the Coolerang finds its mark, goes for the grab, gets the grab. Riffa, one hit away from going down, and knows it full well that roaster is gonna burn. And Grimwood is making Mechanica work here. A lifeline perhaps we will see. Coolerang and the roaster once again as Riffa is determined to make the Seiki work. But it's going to be a grab from Grimwood at the start, keeping Riffa, trying to keep Riffa down in that pocket, but they are going to finally get themselves out of there. But it doesn't matter, Grimwood goes for the rush, juggles them on up, 290 damage. And already Riffa pretty much at the halfway mark, and suddenly Mechanica is a big time threat to Riffa here. Arm weak on the left hand side, as the Cracker is just not scoring anything at the moment. Finally goes in with the rush of their own and gets big time damage, 440. It quickly wrestles control straight back into Riffa's favor, who tries to go for another long range grab, but it's not going to happen this time around, and the Seiki just exploding into life, and that is surely going to be more damage with that rush. It certainly is, 360 damage. Grimwood is one hit away from maybe getting themselves a point on this set. It will not be a 3-0 shutout, but Riffa is determined to find a way through. They get another shock, but they cannot capitalize on it. Grimwood is just far enough away to get away from it. Just under 30 seconds left to go. Riffa has rushed. No, that's a grab. No, it's a grab. And it means it's championship point for Riffa. Grimwood was so close. They needed one more hit. They just could not find it. And now it will be Tribolt and Roaster that get caught by the Coolerang and actually gets grabbed in the midst of it also. Despite starting with the first hit, Riffa actually starts with the lead despite all thanks to that Coolerang hit. Both with rush set and ready to go. The fact that Riffa has dropped the Seiki knowing it's full well that they know they just about got away with that previous point. Now coming up with a combination that should prove to be a little bit more comfortable for them. It's already popped Grimwood into critical, who has rush set and ready to go, and does manage to get one of their own. 245 damage, but crucially, it's Grim who's already in critical. One more hit from anything from Riffa will end this at 3-0. Riffa on the cusp of critical, knowing full well the Cracker could just go through and just tickle them once, and that'll do it. The Coolerang will bounce the shield, but the Cracker will not. It punches on through, and it will be a 3-0. Riffa is going to win the winners' final and the grand final in 3-0 victories. And it means that Grimwood, for the 24th time, is your Challenge Cup winner. He has retained this crown for 6 events now. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know what else there is to say. Riffa has won 6 Challenge Cup events in a row. Oh my god. Grimwood gave it everything. But it is not to be. Not even a game against him. Replicant and Grim both lose 3-0 to Riffa, who bounces back from his defeat in the Invitational to win in style. That Cracker is unbelievable on Misango, and honestly, what more needs to be said? Riffa is still your reigning champion. Beating Grimwood by 3 points to 0 in the grand final. Grimwood will end up in 2nd place. Replicant will be 3rd, having lost a 3-2 thriller in the underground final. And it will be Iceman who will not be hitting the podium this time around. They will finish in 4th position. Massive shout outs to everybody who took part today. It has been fun from start to finish. And hopefully you've all had fun tuning in and watching as well. Whether it was here live on Twitch at EU_arms. Or whether you're watching the matches back on our YouTube channel at EU Arms Competitive. Or maybe seeing some little promotional materials pop up here and there on our Twitter at European_arms. You've all been fantastic. Thank you very much for tuning on in. If you would like more information, the Twitter is probably your best bet to go to. That's where we generally promote all of our events and other events that go off. And we also do that in our Discord. If you view the description down below, we'll definitely give you all of the links, all of the juicy goodness, and on top of that, some great people to be able to chit and chat with. Not just arms related stuff for tips and advice and other bits and pieces here, but also for other games as well. It's a great little community that we got over here. But yeah, in terms of that, that is the stream done and dusted. Thank you all so much for coming by once again. I have been your host and your commentator, TK Layla. And that's that. That is us done and dusted here. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully I'll see you again sometime. And remember the 3 important things. That trans rights are human rights. That black lives do indeed matter, and to make sure you keep your drinks nice and topped up so that we may stay fresh.